Hey guys, we have a good topic for you today. We're going to talk about our mini cabin. We wanted to build a cabin that anybody could build. And what are we going to tell you?
How much it costs to build.
Stick with us during this video and we'll do a breakdown for you. So we're going to head inside and we'll talk to you in there because it's 8 degrees out.
Cold outside.
That's a bit better.
Not so cold.
So anyway, guys, if you're here to see if you should buy a pre-built shed from one of the big box stores or one of these big epic places that build sheds, or the Amish, they build some good buildings as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with those is delivering them can be complicated if you're back in the woods. The other complicated part is you pay for the labor, right?
Yep, and you're just getting a shell of a building, really.
Yes, you're not getting a foundation. You're not getting insulation, electrical, and they come in lots of different options and lots of different price ranges and sizes. But there's troubles with those as well. Like, they're not really built to live in, right?
Right.
So we have a video where we started this whole journey back, like, what, 6 months ago?
Mm-hmm.
6-7 months ago. We went to a couple different facilities, so go back and check that video out. And we showed you a few different options and sizes, right?
Yep. So we just wanted to build a small, simple cabin that could be like a weekend cabin if you wanted it to be, or a guest cabin. Because I know a lot of people, when they're starting their off-grid journey, just want something small until they can build something bigger, but they don't want to live in a camper.
Yeah. Campers work fine for weekends here or there, but if you're going to be spending 6 months to a year on your property building something, mini cabin would be better than a camper for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And campers have their place, but they are not fun to live in full time. So
Did that.
So anyway, let's get to the nitty gritty here and talk about how much it costs for us to build our mini cabin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're working with the budget of $4,000 for a bare shell from a shed factory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to break it down into ways that you can see how much it costs to do each part of the project, right?
Yep.
So we didn't do like concrete piers or sonotubes. We just put 4x6s in the ground at each corner, and then we did a few extra beams or posts to support like the half supporting walls where the supporting walls were at. Our first initial trip to the big box store cost us right under $1,000 for lumber alone to get a foundation, 6x6s in the ground, a few 4x6s to add for addition to the supporting walls, the flooring, which is rim joist, floor joists, and subflooring. The perimeter walls we did in 2x4 framing. How much did we spend on lumber?
$1,366.11.
So $1,366. That got us a nice framed in, basically
Shell of a building.
It didn't get the building dried in, but we had a nice, pretty solid structure at that point with $1,366 worth of lumber. All right, now that's not including roofing, right?
Yep. We did metal roofing because it works better for us here because the snow slides off of it better, and we can also then collect rainwater from it, which that's another video if you need to look into that.
Yeah, you don't want to collect rainwater from a shingle roof because it can put chemicals in the water. So metal roof eliminates that problem.
And we already had metal roof here, so we just wanted a very cohesive matching look everywhere. So we kept it the metal roof, and with all of the roofing, we spent $1,063.44.
Yeah.
So between those two, we're under
$2,400.
$2,400 to have a building
with a roof. That includes OSB sheathing for the roof. That includes all the metal roofing, all the underlayment. That includes ridge caps, drip edges, roof edgings, and fascias. So that's a very close to finished roofing system.
Yep, like look at that time when we had that done, it looked like a shed you might find at the big box store.
Minus siding.
Yes.
And we have to keep into consideration with this build, we did extend the roof on one side to do a large 9 by 16 overhang.
Mm-hmm.
We also did a front porch that hangs over 5 feet. So we have quite a bit of additional roofing materials to fulfill that.
Yep, and that's something you wouldn't be able to do either if you had bought a shed. You would have had to build that on yourself, which adds onto the money again.
And complicates the process as far as like making snow runoff good and keeping your angles. So keep in mind, we have $2,400 into a completed shell with roofing, but we did make the additional lean-to quite a bit larger for our needs.
Mm-hmm.
So you could probably cut that budget and down by 30-40% easy.
Our roofing would have been half the cost then.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. Way more functional than a shed build.
Yep, but that's what we're trying to show you, is that if you spend just a little bit more, you can have full functionality.
If you're not a builder and a pre-built shed is instant, it took us 6 months to get to this point. I would say we had 1 month, because we worked really hard for that first month to get to a functional shell that was pretty close to what you could buy off the lot.
Yep.
Minus our siding.
Yep. You'll notice that our siding is live edge siding. We mill that ourselves here at our property.
From trees off of our property, yep.
So that saved us a lot of money.
That gave us the look that we wanted and gave us a little bit more rustic feel to our cabin. You can buy wood siding, you can buy log siding, you can use vinyl siding if you'd like. You could do whatever you want. In this budget, we didn't include anything for siding, right?
Nope,
except for the nails to attach it.
But that's just one way you can save money. If you know somebody with a sawmill, maybe you can get them to make you siding, and you can just find maybe a local sawmill yourself too and see if they make it, which might save you money and give you more of a rustic look.
Yep. So we milled our own siding. We milled the live edge siding from poplar trees on our property. We have a ton of videos talking about that. So if you're interested in that look and like the way our cabins look, check out some of those videos. I think Jen made a whole playlist at some point about the sawmill and all our poplar siding. So check that out. But for us, that costs maybe $100 worth of gasoline and sawmill blades. I would say if you were to purchase your own siding, it could fluctuate depending upon what kind of deals you get, right? Anywhere from $500 to $1,000. So you can add that to the budget if you'd like. Another cost that we didn't incur was windows. If you were to buy windows, you can add as many or as few windows as you want. We had used windows. You could shop around for windows. You could probably find 3 or 4 windows for $100 to $200.
Yep.
We already had those. You could buy new, you could buy used. So add a couple $100 to the budget there. So after we have a dried in shell of a building, what's the next thing you need to do?
You got to get electric going if you want lights, which is kind of important.
I would recommend some sort of lighting or outlets, because otherwise you're going to be sad. You could forego that entire process and use a power station or some solar system with lamps. We ran maybe, 10, 20. We ran about 50 feet of wiring, 12-2 wiring through the entire cabin. So we have about $125 into electrical total. Anyway,
you never know how you're gonna change stuff, so it's just easier to have extra. Yep. That's my tidbit.
Yep. So $125 for electrical, and then you can insulate, right?
Yep. And we did insulate the walls and the ceiling, and for all of that, that was only $254.60.
$254 for R13 all the way around the walls, and then we did R19 in the ceiling for because we did 2x6 rafters.
So you want to stay warm.
Yes.
Everywhere in the country it gets cold in the winter, so.
One thing we did different than a lot of traditional builds, we used bubble foil or Reflectix bubble foil for the flooring. We did that here in our main cabin as well, and that saves a lot of hassle. It makes it rodent proof. We had about 1.5 rolls of that, so that was $60 worth of insulation. So we have an extra 50 to 60, well, it was actually 1.5, so about $40 roll. So we have about $300 in insulation if you look at it like that. You could put fiberglass, regular fiberglass, R13, R19, R whatever you would like, and the flooring. But we don't like critters living on our floor, and the bubble foil is a way to get around that, and we're perfectly happy with it.
We've been using it here in the big cabin we have for 5 years now, and no problems. The floor is not cold or anything, so...
Once you skirt your building, it holds nice amount of temperature. It holds a nice temperature and a good amount of heat in the crawl space area, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're happy with it. I highly recommend it. Having critters live in your floor is not something I'm interested in.
No.
And that happens if you live in the woods. What's your next step?
Gotta get some siding inside, whatever you're gonna do for the walls, whether it be drywall or
Pine tongue and groove.
Pine tongue and groove.
You could do paneling if you want to try to save a few bucks. Paneling's a pretty easy install if you'd like. We are not drywall people.
No, it's a lot of work and messy and
I've
not
never-
our cup of tea.
Yeah, I've never watched a single video where people were drywalling and they were smiling and saying, this is so much fun. So, although it may be a little cheaper to some degree, I don't know how it is, because you have to buy the drywall, then you have to mud it, and then you have to tape it, mud it, paint it. I think by the time you add up all that additional stuff, how much did we spend to do the interior of our stuff in wood siding and wood pine tongue and groove?
Under $1,000, $994. And that's the entire cabin. That is the ceiling and all the walls.
So yeah, guys, we spent $994 on siding that we use on the inside. We wanted to try something a little different than the traditional pine tongue and groove, but it would have been close to the same price. It was equivalent in price, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just something a little bit different. Made it look kind of like flat wall siding on the inside, like log, D-style flat log siding on the inside.
And if you want to do something like that yourself, you can check local Amish mills and stuff. There's many of them all throughout the country.
Yep, Michigan has quite a few of them, and we actually purchased all of the wood from the same place for this cabin on the inside too. They have cabin grade stuff that's quite a bit cheaper than if you had bought it at like the big box store.
Yes.
It's like
Don't
half
buy
to a third.
Do not, if you're trying to do this and save money, try to look somewhere local to buy it, because it is much more expensive at the big box stores.
Yep. So after you get your walls and everything on the inside looking nice, what's the next step?
You want to do flooring, and you can do that in a variety of options. We just went to the green store and found a clearance flooring that we liked. That's always a great option to do. Always look at that kind of stuff. That's one way you can save a lot of money, is just looking at the closeout deals, the stuff that they're trying to get rid of, because usually if you have a small space, you can find a good item for cheap, because they only maybe have 5 or 6 boxes left they're looking to get rid of.
Yeah, they don't want it to sit on the shelf and take up space for something that they can put,
So
a
that's
current product.
how we got ours, and we got all the flooring for our cabin for $165.
Yep.
Which is pretty good.
And it's luxury vinyl plank, which is waterproof and was easy to install. We stayed with wood products in this cabin, but when we're gonna be doing a lot of in and out in that cabin and baking, and we wanted it to be a little bit more durable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So another thing that's optional but adds a really nice element to every cabin is a porch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a deck. And for our deck, we put a little 5-foot porch on the front, right?
Yep.
And then we started putting one on the back. We did mill our own wood for the surface planks, but we bought pressure-treated lumber at the store for the framework and foundation of that. So with the pressure-treated posts, we just did 4x4s or 4x6s in the front, and we did a few green treat 2x8s for the underlayment, and then we milled our own top boards or deck boards. We did them nice and thick. We wanted a kind of a rustic look, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how much did we spend on the deck so far?
About $200.
Yeah, we spent about $200. That's pretty good, right?
And that's still not complete. We ran out of time. It's middle of winter here in Michigan, so we're not quite doing that kind of stuff right now. They'll be on hold until spring.
Yeah.
So with our lean-to that we built as the extension, not only did we use extra roofing materials, but we did this extra build so that way we have more storage area, because you can never have enough storage area. And so when Jason does his maple syrup here in a couple months, he has a space for making it where it's covered and away from the wind a little bit. So we did a dry pour there, so that way when syrup is there and stuff, it doesn't make everything all sticky, and it's clean. So it's going to be a really nice benefit for him this spring.
No more working in the dirt and the snow.
Right. So that's the way he's done it the last couple of years. So no dirt, no snow, which will be nice. And the cement will be nice. And we've been doing dry pour now for about a year and a half. And it works out really well for us. It's a really great off-grid solution for cement and concrete, because
we can't get a truck up here.
Yeah, and a lot of people that live off-grid can't necessarily get, don't have running water.
They could pull a trailer to where they're at and bring the concrete in themselves, but we don't have a well.
Yep.
And we don't have the machine to make concrete, wet pour concrete. And if you're doing larger chunks of concrete pads, doing it with a small concrete mixer is not ideal either.
Yeah,
and we're not driving on this concrete. We're not parking on it. It's basically patios, and like a patio, sidewalk, or just a slab for general function and keeping things clean. So we've done a lot of dry pour concrete, right?
Yep.
And that pad was 9 foot by 15 foot underneath our lean-to. And how much did we spend on that?
With the concrete, the mesh that we put in between, and the expansion joint, because we did 2 separate pours, was $252.
Not bad for a nice clean space underneath there, huh?
It's a nice big clean space, and all of it we did it ourselves, and it was quick and easy.
Yep.
So if you haven't ever tried out a dry pour, we recommend it, because it's not as hard as you might think, and anybody can do it.
Yeah, and we've had good success with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that is an optional thing for our build. It's not something you need, but that's something we wanted, and it's going to make the space
more functional, which is the whole purpose of our mini cabin build.
Yep. Guest cabin, sugar shack, baking area, canning area, all kinds of awesome stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the next thing after that? We started working on the inside again, right? Because it got cold.
We did some cabinets inside. And again, search the clearance areas, guys. That is probably our biggest tip we could ever tell you when building stuff. Check out the clearance aisles. Check out those racks.
Don't be afraid to ask the people that work there, because they know where those piles are hiding, right?
Yes, because we got all the cabinets in our cabin for less than $100.
Yeah, we bought $200 worth of stuff, and we only used half of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So $100 for that.
The counter was $100 too, so for less than $200.
So a nice little kitchenette. It's not huge, but we made it very functional for Jen, right?
Yep.
To bake her bread, which she loves. So our kitchen for the mini cabin cost right around $500, including Jen's sink, the faucet, the countertop, the cabinets, and lighting for the cabin, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice number, considering we were originally going to just buy the generic oak cabinets from the big box store, and those would have cost us $550 to $600 for just the cabinets.
Yep.
So make sure you shop, guys. If you're not in a hurry, or even if you are not on this journey yet and you're getting ready to do it, don't wait until you need something to buy it, right?
Right.
When you start looking for deals now, tuck a little corner away and put some things in that corner that you find great deals on, right?
Yep.
It'll really help your budget in the long run.
So, all in all, completely finished cabin the way we finished it was under $6,000.
Yeah, $6,000 from the ground up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a ready to go. Guests could stay in there. We can bake in there. We can use it as a functional space for my maple syruping. We can do hobby stuff, basically. I mean, this is a hobby cabin as well, so we have a little more space. That's something people don't necessarily talk about when they talk about small cabins and living there full time. Is, you know, you still want to do stuff, and there are sacrifices you make with your main cabin being smaller, right?
Mm-hmm.
And well, another thing, laundry. Like, we're gonna do laundry over there too this time. You know, in the warmer months.
We'll have a laundry system over there,
So
and
could classify that as a guest cabin, he shed, she shed, like we originally talked, right?
Work cabin, work shed. It's gonna be just a multitude of things, but I mean, you can build a cabin like that for under $6,000, and doing it yourself is really rewarding.
You get to design it and do it the way you want, like we did. You're not stuck with a pre-designated plan or layout that you can buy at the store, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and like problems we solve, like the sheds, like the doors, like would slide open or turn in open, so then you lose a lot of that space.
Yeah.
So that's why we did like just a traditional door on ours. So things to consider when buying a shed versus building a cabin is the way the doors are, and like the windows don't always open on sheds. Then you're going to have to take those out and install new ones, which therefore creates problems because you have to find the right one.
Yeah, because most sheds aren't built to turn into a tiny cabin, so you'd have to either upgrade the windows. Sometimes they're single pane, like Jen said, they don't open. So we have nice large windows that are normal home windows, so they open. They're big. They let a lot of light in. I'm pretty happy with our cabin. Are you pretty happy with it?
Yeah. So designing your own cabin is a little bit more work, much more rewarding, and you have more flexibility in the final overall design.
And when you think about it, it's really not more money. It's actually less money because we have a complete cabin. Mm-hmm. There's no way you could buy a shed off the lot or, you know, from a builder, pre-assembled and dropped off, and put less money in it than what we have into our fully ready to go cabin, right?
Yeah, because you'd have to have a foundation for it to be on. You'd have to get insulation.
You could spend $500 to $1,000 just clearing a flat spot and putting gravel down. So there's definitely perks to doing it your own, you know, building it yourself. We know everybody's not capable, but I think you are more capable than you would give yourself credit for most of the time, right?
Yep.
If you're new here and just want to see how much it's going to cost you to go out into the woods, buy a piece of property, and build your own little mini cabin, we're glad that you stuck with us. We hope you learned kind of how much it's going to cost you and what it cost us to do it this way, right? Mm-hmm. And we hope that you go back and look and watch our entire mini cabin series. It's a fun series. And if you're completely new here, you can go watch this cabin as well. We have a couple of cost videos that we did along the way for this larger 400 square foot cabin. So there's lots of videos for you to catch up on if you're new here. That's a fun build. Jen makes a few funny jokes along the way.
There'll be a nice little time lapse too of the whole build coming up soon as well.
Yep. So we appreciate you guys sticking with us. We hope this was helpful to a few people.
Yep. And if you know anybody that might enjoy this series or enjoy this video, be sure to share it with them because it helps support this channel. And just give us a thumbs up. And we appreciate it.
Yeah, let YouTube know that you enjoyed it, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We appreciate you guys sticking with us, and best wishes, right?